Welcome to the CBP Spring Virtual Conference. Whipfly is proud to be a CBP partner and presenting sponsor. I'm TJ O'Neill, also known as the Thirsty CPA, and help lead our firm's craft brewery team. We offer a full lineup of solutions, including accounting and tax, digital strategies, business advisory, and strategic planning services. Our firm's been working with breweries, wineries, and distilleries for decades. So whether you're a startup or looking to expand, we just might surprise you with a new perspective to transform your business. You can learn more at whipfly.com. Remember, that's Whipfly, W-I-P-F-L-I, not Whipfly. I hope you're enjoying the conference. Cheers.
All right, here we are. Welcome to an awesome presentation. I think it's awesome. All about marketing campaigns and fueling your brewery's growth. And really, to set the intention with this presentation, really what I want to try to do is of course, I want to give you the tactics, right? We're going to look right inside of our playbook and give you some examples on real examples for campaigns that we've run that have gone really well and that you could use. So you'll have the framework there. But I want to try to give you the real framework for looking at these campaigns from a more ROI focused perspective. And I think that framework is going to be really what fuels your growth. And we're going to get into all that stuff throughout the presentation today. And by the way, if you're watching live, and you leave some comments, I'm looking over to my right. I'll see them come through, and I'll try to answer them. I think there'll be some time towards the end if you are here, and you have some questions. And there is going to be a slide at the end with my information on it. So if you want to schedule some time to get more questions answered, you can certainly do that. But let's get into it. So a little bit about me for those that don't know. My name is Chris Overlay. I'm the CEO and founder of Get Hoptimized. We're a marketing agency, a digital marketing agency that is built for craft beer. It's specifically for that. So breweries, craft beer adjacent, hop farms, all that kind of stuff as well. We've launched this company a couple of years ago, but before that, I have been doing marketing for a long time. I've worked for agencies, I've started agencies, freelanced, done all sorts of stuff for all different kinds of companies. But most of my experience is in that small to medium business world. And I've grown to love it working with these business folks because these are real folks impacting real lives. And it's fun for me. So aside from that, I'm on CBP quite frequently. I try to speak as much as I can here. I've spoken a couple times. Well, once at CBC. I'll be speaking again at Vegas this year. I live in Vegas. Graduated from UNLV, so I'll be here definitely. And hopefully we get to see you there. When I'm not doing marketing stuff, I like to watch the Broncos. Lately, they've just been losing, but that's okay. I'm also a Golden Knights fan, and I'm a home brewer. Brew beer occasionally, so I kind of know what's up with the fermentations and all that. But yeah, so let's talk about what we're going to go over in the presentation today. So part one is that foundational piece. We're going to talk about what it really means to build your campaigns for the best ROI potential. And again, that's the foundation. And then we're going to look at some examples. And I think looking at the examples after part one is going to make the examples make a ton more sense and how we engineered them. And if all you took away from this presentation was part one and the foundation, that is going to lead you to marketing success. So again, that's the real juice here. But again, these campaign strategies I think are also super valuable as well. So what does it mean to have a marketing campaign that is engineered for ROI? Well, first, we need to be aimed at a business objective. And what do I mean by that? So there's some examples there to the right. What I mean is that there has to be some type of outcome that you need for your business that's going to be meaningful for your business and for margin for your business, right? We're all trying to make money, but there has to be some kind of marginable objective here, or an objective with margin. And like dollar per ticket is a great example of that, right? That's going to mean something to your business. And when you point your marketing towards something like that, then that's where you start to see the lines be connected from marketing to business growth. And most of our objectives are going to be revenue focused. In fact, everything kind of trickles down into revenue and value and that kind of, and profit ultimately. But the examples you see there, dollar per ticket, to go sales, those are directly related to some kind of revenue, sales revenue, right? But we can also look at social media following and email subscribers as a business objective too, because those are assets for your business, especially email. You own that list. That's a contact list. Those are people that have said, hey, I want your marketing material. And if we really think about it, there is a lifetime value associated with those assets. The more followers you have, especially if those followers are in your target market, the more email subscribers you have, those folks are going to buy from you. They're going to buy again from you. So aiming your marketing towards that kind of objective is also valid in this example, in this framework. Part two is there has to be a measurable outcome with the marketing campaign. You have to have some type of output that you can measure and then compare to your inputs into your marketing campaign. And oftentimes I think it's really helpful to have some kind of time period associated with this. So for example, we might look at dollar per ticket as an objective. But we kind of want to look at that dollar per ticket period, especially when we are thinking marketing with a time frame and say, okay, dollar per ticket in the month of April, for example. That's a measurable piece we can look at and look at all of our dollar per ticket, like pull that right out of the POS system and pull a report and compare that to the campaign we ran for dollar per ticket increase during that period. And it's that comparative piece that is really valuable. You can look at that month over month, week over week. You can look at trend lines over time. Year over year comparisons are super, super important for this. But that's why I put that in there, is I think that time period is oftentimes, almost always, a factor here when we're talking about measurable outcomes. Part three, and this is where I think the is really the like final piece of this, and a super important piece, is that profit ceiling on that campaign has to be high enough to justify marketing. And this is where you have to do a good job of being a decision maker, being a manager, and making decisions on what campaigns you go after that are actually going to be worth it for your business, because not all marketing campaigns are created equal. And let's break that piece out. Let's break out that marketing, that profit ceiling ROI piece a little bit and talk about it. So what I mean by this is that your potential return on the campaign, whatever that is, and we're going to look at some examples here in a minute about these. And again, that'll give you context, but that potential return has to be more than the marketing and the operational expense. So the juice has to be worth the squeeze here. And this is what I mean is from your perspective as a decision maker, you have to look at this and go, okay, we have this idea for a marketing campaign. We want to do X. Is it going to be worth it? Is the cost that goes into it, the marketing expense, the time and effort that goes into it going to be worth it? And you also have to try to be disciplined and keep your head from going too far into the clouds. And what I mean by that is the return has to be obtainable, right? I think it's fun and sometimes easy, too easy to be like, oh man, we're gonna blow it out of the water. We're gonna fill the house at this event, or we're gonna sell all of the to-go inventory we have. That's the true potential. So if we do a good job with marketing, we can sell all of it. It's like, well, sure. Yes, but what's actually more likely? What's a reasonable and an obtainable outcome here? Is it more like, okay, if we increase sales by 25%, to go sales by 25%, for example, is that more obtainable? And is that amount worth it for the marketing campaign? I think if you keep yourself reasonable with that, that is going to be a huge helpful piece. And if you really structure all of your marketing campaigns this way, with this in mind, you're going to start to turn your marketing strategy, your overall marketing strategy, into a growth engine for your business. Are you going to win every single campaign? No. Some campaigns, it's not going to work. You're not going to hit your goal. Some events don't do very well. Some promos just don't hit. It's happening. It's going to happen. But as long as you keep coming back to this mindset and learning from what you're doing, over time, you're going to chalk off more W's in the W column, in the win column, and you'll have wins, and you'll have really, really great wins. And over time, you're going to figure this stuff out, and it's going to help you grow your business. So with that in mind, let's look at some of these playbook examples that we've got for you. First one, to-go sale. I really like to-go sales for lots of reasons. One, it's usually pretty simple from an operational perspective, at least from a marketing perspective, to run some kind of to-go promo. I'm going to show you, the next slide is going to be our operation on this, our true process. But preview, it's pretty simple. Also, the measurable outcome with this is pretty straightforward. We know that we're trying to sell to go inventory. And what I mean by this is like to go out of the tap room, right? Not necessarily to go from distribution. We're going to talk about distribution in a different example, but talking about your to go fridge that you're selling your cans, bottles out of, right? We can measure that. There's a POS category for that stuff, something we can come back and look at pretty easily. So the example we're looking at here is like a Christmas Eve to go sale. But again, another reason why I like to go sales is because you can apply this to like all sorts of holiday weekends. Like Memorial Day is coming up. It's a great example. I really like these type of promos for when we know that the tap room isn't going to do a whole lot of on-site sales because for whatever reason, people are going out on a boat or spending time outside for like Memorial Day, or it's Christmas. You're not going to do awesome on Christmas Eve. Some tap rooms I'm sure do really well, but these kind of days where you're not going to do a ton on site, typically you don't have people sitting down and drinking pints or ordering food and that kind of stuff. Well, maybe there's an opportunity here for us to use it to go sale. It doesn't have to be on one day either. You can have a weekend sale, like Memorial Day weekend or whatever the case is, and try to win over or increase revenue and margin on to go during that period. So in this case, we're running the Christmas Eve to go sale. In this example, our measurement is to go sales on Christmas Eve. So there's that time period piece. Is it's going to be only on that day. So that's a pretty easy one for us to look at. And our potential here is whatever we think is reasonable with our available to go inventory. And again, be reasonable here. Think about what's actually obtainable. We know we're not going to sell the whole fridge. If we did, fantastic. Huge win. But what's obtainable here? What can we really do? Let's look at last year's numbers on this day. Let's look at to-go sales from that period. Let's look at how to-go sales have been going over the last several weeks. What's reasonable for us? And that's really what I mean by ROI potential with this. So what does the structure look like for this kind of campaign? And this is exactly the structure we use for this. And really a model we've come to use for all sorts of to-go sales. Assets we needed, we're going to have a printable poster that's going up in the tap room immediately. We're going to have graphics for social media, and like feeds, stories. We also did a graphic for TV screens because this tap room had that space on their screens. And I think that's great if you've got that. I love these TV screens. They're very captivating and a nice way to advertise stuff. Timeline wise, posters are going up as soon as we possibly can get them done. Early December is when we got these. I think it was like the first week of December where we got these things up, and they stay up all month. So that's what's nice about this is that once you get these things up, and the sooner you can get them out, I'm not saying put these up November 1, but like, a great thing to do, and it would have been awesome if we got these out, is during Black Friday, and having some of that. Maybe not. Maybe you want to have to go sales on Black Friday too. I think we did a Black Friday to go sale in this case. But anyways, my point is get them up early because you're going to have more time running on those on-site graphics. Then we get we created a Facebook event for this. We had a website event for this. We get those published as soon as we can, early December. Then the actual promo pieces that go out, pretty straightforward. We're going to get an email blast out early December, and then we're going to have one the week of. December 20th, I think, was the Monday before Christmas Eve. So we got an email out that period too. And social posts pretty much follow that pacing. Actually, we waited on the social posts because we knew that our decision-making window, people were going to come in and order on Christmas Eve and pick up their cans for the Christmas party over the weekend. We wanted to hit them that week. So we got that post out on December 20th and boosted all week. And thinking about ad budget wise, it's not that much, right? It's just a $40 boost on our asset, on our flyer there. You see it over there on the side of the screen during that week. Overall, our marketing costs pretty reasonable here. And I'm baking in like design costs with this. For us, we operate on retainers. So like it's kind of convoluted to attribute cost completely to every single promo when we think about design. But I kind of did an estimate for you based on like if you like contracted out somebody just to make these assets, posters, a couple of flyers, that kind of thing, you're probably looking in the ballpark of about 150 to 200 bucks. So when we start to think about this we put our decision maker cap on and we think about the ROI potential for this, really, we need to look at to-go sales on that day. And that has to be greater than our fixed costs on those on those cans or bottles or whatever, plus the $200 marketing. And when we looked at this potential, we said, hey, it's actually pretty reasonable. And again, I said to-go sales were a good one for us because you think about the marketing operation here, it's not that complicated. From a marketing cost perspective, pretty low compared to any other campaigns. So it's like, okay, all we have to do is cover that amount. Can we do that with our sales? Is it reasonable? In this case, it was, and they do well. We use this as a model for all sorts of holiday to-go sales. So that's example number one. Let's look at a more complicated example. Events. Events by nature are just more complicated from a promo perspective because you're really talking about a behavior that is like a commitment behavior with somebody. They got to dedicate time, they got to come out. There's competition for that stuff, especially for something like New Year's Eve. And I wanted to put this example in here because this is probably one of the more complicated operations, marketing campaigns operationally. Let me re-say that. It's one of the more complicated marketing campaigns operationally that we run. And I thought, hey, let's show you the more complicated version. You could look at this and break it apart and really use this for any type of event. But let's show you the whole shebang here and give you that, and then use that as a framework. So what we let's start with the framework here. So business objective, we're trying to increase New Year's Eve event attendance for this brewery. And we want to sell event tickets. Okay, in this case, and this is what makes it a little more complicated, is because we're selling tickets online. We have like a ticket platform that we use, pushing traffic to it, we're selling tickets online. So our objectives here: get people there, sell tickets. New Year's Eve party was the campaign. Our measurement here is ticket sales revenue and the taproom revenue on New Year's Eve. And that was an important part here, because if you look at that graphic, the ticket price covers the food and some other kind of add-ins there, but the bar was not included. So we have to think about that in terms of our potential ROI and revenue spot was on-site taproom revenue, and that's really where that ROI potential was there. So ticket sales, on-site bar, and we had a cap of about 300 available tickets. That was our max ceiling, but realistically, we wanted to hit about 100. That was our goal. We knew we needed to hit about that 100. So that was our mark in between those two. Was our ROI, potential ROI goal with that. So let's look at this operation here. And as you're seeing, it gets complicated, but I'm going to explain it. So asset wise, similar to what we did before. We need a printable poster. We needed static graphics for feeds and stories, and we needed video. And we needed both of these because we're going to run traffic campaigns, and a lot of times static does well with traffic, although sometimes it doesn't, but we wanted both. We also needed static campaigns for, like, the event pages. We use that stuff in email. All that stuff is static. So definitely want static flyers, and we wanted the video because we're going to run awareness in this too. And you're promoting an event, video really does well to promote events. So we needed both. And then we needed the graphics for TV and TV screens, right? So there's some assets we built into this. Timeline wise, and this is where there's a lot. So let's go through it. Posters in the tap room, early as possible. If we could have got these out sooner, in fact, we might have trickled out some of this stuff, like event pages and things, like that week leading up to December 1st, but definitely want those out. We want posters up early December. We want the Facebook and website event pages up as early as possible in December or sooner. And quick tangent, sometimes even if you don't have the marketing assets, you can get the event pages up and just say, hey, New Year's Eve party coming soon, details coming soon, and just throw like a stock photo in there or something like that, something really basic to at least get the date out there. That's something we do sometimes too, especially for something like this. But at the bare minimum, we want to get those event pages up early December. The event pages are also super important because that was where we're pushing all our traffic to get tickets. On that event page is all the details, it's the assets, it's the links to the ticketing page. Super, super important. So we had to get those down and out. Social posts, those happened beginning of December. It happened midway through. And notice that notation on the December 15th is that it's a reminder plus details. With this particular promotion, we we were waiting to lock in some details. Like I think we're waiting on the DJ, some of that, some of the inclusions that were part of the event. They weren't fully locked in. You were waiting for some word back on stuff. So that mid social post was super important to get the rest of those details out at that time. And then leading up to the event, right after Christmas, we're hitting another social media post out there, final reminder, final any detail updates, and giving another push at that point. Email blasts followed social schedule, beginning of the month, mid month, week of. And like with those emails, uh, you don't have to have it be a dedicated email just about New Year's Eve, right? Or about any event. If you get your announcement, I think your announcement is a dedicated email, right? And your final one definitely is a dedicated. But like your mid one, you probably have an email going out during that period anyways. Maybe it's something coming up that, and this, maybe we did a to go sale, something along those lines. Maybe you lead with that, but in that email, there's a secondary piece that says, hey, don't forget New Year's Eve. Um, another way to look at that email, if you wanted to make it dedicated in the middle, is hey, new details announced, right? You could do it that way too. But definitely had 3 emails rolling out for this campaign. From an advertising perspective, a little bit more expensive for this event, especially because we're doing tickets. So early on, we have an awareness campaign running. As soon as we launch, we're running awareness, which to us means like a video campaign in reels, mainly reels and stories. So the vertical format, we're trying to get in front of as many people as possible, as early as possible to raise awareness about the event. That announcement, the event announcement, remember, we posted on December 1. We boosted that post from the 11th to the 15th. So it was a mid boost at that point. And like we do this a couple different ways. Like the 11th to the 15th worked, but we also could have boosted the 4th through the 8th here too. And it's a little bit of a delay, right? You let your organic post get out there a little bit and then delay your boost. But notice the boosted happened kind of mid month there. The real beast of this whole entire campaign was the traffic campaign. We were in that from day one all the way through almost to the end of the month with an extra surge at the end leading up to. And with traffic campaigns, what makes them, I won't say tricky, it's just more expensive because if you're driving traffic on Meta, I mean, all these campaigns do, these ads, these are all running Meta, Instagram, Facebook, primarily, exclusively, I think, for this, is that back to the traffic campaign and costs, is that you're you need to be spending about $5 a day to run traffic. And like that's like bare minimum. Clicks can run anywhere from like 50 cents to $1, depending on your target market and the competitiveness of the ad space at that time. Holidays are an expensive time for ads in general because everybody else is advertising on Meta. And to get in front of people, your dollar per eyeball, dollar per click is a little bit higher. So have to run traffic. It's a little bit more expensive. And we needed to run it the entire time because we're trying to make ticket sales the whole entire time. What ended up happening is that most of our sales took place that final week. Majority of them, I think like 60%, something like that, happened that final week leading up to. So literally from the 26th through the 31st. But there were early adopters that bought early on. And we want those sales. And we know that those people are going to invite their friends. Word of mouth happens. So you got to have traffic running the entire time for something like this. But then you have your surge the week of. And that's kind of a format you can look at all events, is that your surge has to happen. And the surge looks like a post, a boost during that week. And then we actually had more traffic budget. And that's what you see down there at the bottom. And really that blue dotted line should be pointing to both of those, the boost and the traffic campaign, because that ran during that period of time. Actually, it's not the blue dotted line. It's the green one. That green line from the 27th to the 30th, that's a traffic campaign. That was an extra surge of money on traffic exclusively during that period. And to answer some questions, I know someone's probably thinking is like, well, can I just use a boost campaign instead of traffic? What's the difference? So let me explain. A boosted campaign, if you're going to boost a post, the best thing you can do from a link perspective is link back to like your Instagram profile. And maybe you have your ticketing link in your link tree. Most people, though, are not going to dive that deep. So your boosted campaign doesn't actually work for driving traffic to an event page. It's what we wanted, a ticketing page. So we have to run a separate campaign, an ad campaign that is exclusively for traffic with a traffic objective. Also, your boosted post for link clicks is going to be more expensive. Even if you're pushing to your Instagram page, your dollar per link click is going to be more. So you want to run the traffic campaign because it's engineered to drive people off platform to a site. Um, so your dollar per click is actually more efficient in that area. So, anyways, getting in the weeds here with some of this stuff, but hopefully we're kind of seeing this structure here. Is that there's launch, there's mid, there's surge at the end, and you're running for 30 days basically. With all that in mind, ad costs are more expensive. So roughly about $340 for ad costs. If you factor in graphic design, time, effort, all that stuff, you're probably in the ballpark of about $450 to $550 on the whole entire campaign. So, is this going to work as a marketing campaign objective? So, in order for it to work, ticket sales and taproom revenue have to be more than our operational costs because we're going to have staff there. We've got a DJ that we paid for. We've got fixed costs on all the product that we're going to be selling, and we've got marketing costs. So a much more expensive operation here. Our minimum for this to work was 100 tickets, and we felt pretty confident about that to pull that off. In this case, we ended up selling over 200 tickets. I think the final was like 210, 220, something like that. So we like knocked it out of the park over our goal. It ended up being a fantastic event. Did really, really well, and we've used this as a model for future events of this size and of this nature. So, okay, let's look at one more example on the distribution side. So I wanted to put in something for distribution because I think a lot of people watching this are doing distribution and retail sales. So, and marketing can support here. The tricky part about distribution, retail, is the measurability piece. It's not super easy to pull out a report from your POS system and go, hey, did we sell more out of this? Can we pull a code and just see this? It's a little harder. So that's what makes this a little bit tricky, but there is still a way to run marketing for this. And there still is a way to attribute some of the measurement, some of the sales volumes and stuff to the campaign as well. So hopefully you kind of see that as you watch us or as we go through this model. So okay, break it down. Business objectives: we're trying to increase retail and distribution sales. In this case, it was in a few neighborhoods in Chicago. The campaign we ran was a Brava to Your Mama social contest. So what we did is we put together a few giveaways where we're giving away like a 1-800-Flowers coupon, or not a coupon, a gift card. There was a gift card to one of the locations that actually serves Bravazzi, so they got in on it. And we baked it all into a social contest where you have to like enter your email, follow, click on stuff to like a social media engagement. You've probably seen this stuff. You probably participated in them online. So we built a contest around it and promoted that. I'm going to show you the structure in a second. What we're measuring, we're looking at sales volumes following the promotional period. And this is where distribution is different than other stuff, is because like with our event tickets thing, we knew that we're trying to get sales volumes while we're running the campaigns. With to-go sales, we know that there's a date we're leading up to, date happens, and then afterwards it's over, right? We're not really measuring beyond that. With this, we knew that our impact was truly going to be afterwards because we wanted to saturate the market. We wanted to raise awareness. We wanted to grow social following in that area. And we knew that that was going to lead to potentially more sales volumes also because, if they sold the product, then it's, they're going to reorder, right? And it's sales volumes from the wholesaler. So it has to be afterwards. Social media was also something, social following was something we wanted to measure because we know that, if we're gaining social following in that zone, lifetime value there, it's good. If people are following our account, they're engaging with our content, they're hopefully buying it off the shelves there too. So we knew that was going to be a kind of a support metric with this. The potential here was our capacity for additional sales in the market. And that potentially was good. We knew that we could sell more. We knew there was a good potential for it. You had to be reasonable with it, right? Like obviously we don't want to put our head in the clouds and be like, yeah, we're we're going to blow it out of the water. Let's spend $10,000 in this campaign because it's like, okay, there's a ceiling somewhere in here. Let's be reasonable. But what we saw was like, okay, this seems like a place where we definitely could sell more. We have good partners in the area. Let's give it a shot. So what does this look like? A lot easier than the, than the event campaign for sure. But let's break it down. So assets, we need social graphics, right? We used some video for this as well. It was kind of like an animated flyer with some arrows pointing and that kind of stuff. We also needed a social contest platform. We used a tool called Gleam.io, like a Gleam with a G. Hopefully you can hear that through the mic. There's other ones out there cool called like Viral Sweep is one of them. I actually like Viral Sweep. If I were going to do this again, I'd probably try a Viral Sweep, but Gleam is pretty good. That comes with a little bit of cost, right? To run that's a system that you kind of see that screenshot on the right. That's a screenshot out of Gleam, but what that tool allows you to do is collect emails. You can link out to like people can earn more entries by doing more stuff. That's what's cool about the platform is that you can like earn a point for watching a YouTube video, earn a point for sharing the contest or whatever, right? It kind of helps it turn viral. But the platform's nice for having that. The ad campaign, basically we ran it for 20 days. It was mainly Instagram. We did a little bit of Facebook too, but it was a mainly Instagram campaign. Traffic objective, because we're pushing people to the contest platform. So we're thinking traffic. Ran that for 20 days, spent about $400. We really wanted this thing to blow up. So we had a good amount of marketing costs with it. Also, we knew that, hey, if we really do increase sales volume here, there's a good potential here. So let's section off some budget for it. So our overall marketing costs, probably in the ballpark of about $500 to $600 if you include the design and platform. So what do we got to think for this? We had to put our decision maker cap on and go, is this going to be worth it? So looking at what our ROI potential could be is we're looking at sales volume over the next 90 days, and it's really increase in sales volume. So people already had a baseline for what was being bought in those areas. So we're really looking at like, did we move the needle up? Did we have a better sales volume, a percentage sales volume in those areas? And it's not just the one location that we partnered with, because we kind of had if you think about Chicago in particular, just look at a map, not right now, but think about it. It's a very densely populated area. So even like a 1 mile geo radius around our partner location or in that zone, there's a lot of other places where Bravazzi was being sold. So we knew that, okay, we're going to factor those in too, because we're raising awareness, we're getting people involved, we're getting social following in that zone. So let's look at all those accounts as well and look at sales volumes in those areas over the next 90 days. And is that going to be enough to justify our fixed costs on the products plus $600 in marketing expense? We had to factor in gift cards with this too. I think we got one of the gift cards for free. We got it donated, and that's like the awesome for these social contests, by the way, is if you can get some stuff donated, you got a partner that's willing to give it to you. You don't have to put that cost involved. It definitely reduces your cost down. I think so. We had to include at least one of the gift card expenses into that. But looking at this, we said, hey, this is reasonable. We think we could do a really good job with this. Let's run it. And it ended up doing really well. They increased sales volumes in that area, built a good relationship with the retailer in that zone, and grew social following. So it definitely was worth it for them over time. So, okay, let's review. Let's go over what we went over. So if you're thinking about marketing campaigns with a high ROI potential, you want to try to make them follow these guidelines. They need to be focused on a clear business objective. They have to be measurable. And oftentimes that measurable outcome is tied to a time period, right? And the profit ceiling has to be high enough to justify marketing. Again, you've got to put your manager hat on, your decision maker hat on, and go, okay, is this going to be worth it to run? And if you start running campaigns like this, you're going to turn your marketing strategy into a growth engine. Like I said in the beginning, not everyone is going to win, but you'll learn from those ones and you'll optimize for the future. And if you just start thinking about this, you're going to weed out campaigns from even running in the first place, because you're like, wait, this isn't really engineered in a way that's going to help us grow. We're not pointed at anything. And the potential on that isn't worth it. We're not going to spend $300 in marketing to promote something where maybe we get an extra couple people in the tap room or whatever the case is, right? So you start doing this and you start running your marketing a little bit smarter, and then your marketing starts giving more return for you, start making more money, and you roll that over time and you grow your business. That's how you do it. That's the plan. Hopefully you got some value from this. Again, my name is Chris. There is a link up on this page if you have questions and want to schedule a follow-up with me. Just go to this URL you see there, and it's a little Calendly integration. You can pick a time that works for you, schedule some time, and we will set that aside for you. And yeah, that's all I got. I appreciate the time. Thank you, CBP, for letting me be on here. And we'll catch you all next time. See ya.